A young woman leaves her home in the middle of the night. She doesn't tell anyone exactly where she's going, only that she'll be back. She drives through quiet South Carolina roads, long after most people are asleep, toward a place few would visit at that hour, a remote boat landing, dark and isolated. Hours later, her car is found. It's parked neatly, not abandoned in a rush. Her purse is still inside. Her keys are there, but her phone is gone. And Heather Elvis is never seen again. 2 people will eventually be convicted, sentenced to decades behind bars. Yet to this day, no body is ever found. So what really happened to Heather Elvis? Stay with me. Some cases are hidden because they're forgotten. Time passes, headlines fade, people move on. Others are hidden because the truth was never fully revealed. Because something is missing. Because someone knows more than they've ever said. Here we tell the stories that don't let go. The evidence that doesn't add up. And the questions that still haunt investigators years later. This is The Hidden Case. Heather Elvis was 20 years old. She lived in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, a place known for tourism, nightlife, and seasonal crowds. She worked as a server, earning tips, trying to find stability while figuring out what she wanted from life. Friends described Heather as social, trusting, and open-hearted. She enjoyed being around people. She wanted connection. She talked about love, about settling down one day, about finding something real. But in 2013, Heather became involved in a relationship that would quietly pull her into a dangerous situation. One built on secrecy, imbalance, and control. Heather began seeing Sidney Mura, a man more than a decade older than her. Sidney was married. His wife was Tammy Mura. The relationship was never meant to be public. It existed in hidden messages, secret meetings, and emotional tension. When Tammy discovered the affair, the situation escalated quickly. What had once been private became hostile. Text messages later uncovered by investigators showed anger, jealousy, and fear. Heather confided in people close to her that she felt threatened. She believed she was being watched. She believed someone was following her. Despite attempts to move on, Heather remained connected to Sidney. Their emotional ties were complicated, and that connection would not end peacefully. Because just days before Heather vanished, investigators believe a plan was already in motion. In the early morning hours of December 18, 2013, Heather sent a message to a friend saying she was heading out. She said she was meeting someone. She didn't say who. At approximately 3:45 a.m., Heather's phone activity stopped entirely. No more messages. No calls. No location data. Later that day, her car was discovered at Peachtree Landing, a secluded boat access area surrounded by darkness and water. Inside the vehicle were her purse and her keys. There were no signs of a struggle. No broken glass. No blood. Heather was simply gone. From the very beginning, investigators believed this was not a random disappearance. Nothing about the scene suggested she had left voluntarily. Their attention turned almost immediately to Sidney and Tammy Mura. Surveillance footage showed Tammy Mura's vehicle driving repeatedly near Peachtree Landing around the time Heather vanished. Cell phone records placed both Sidney and Tammy in the area during the critical window. Investigators believed Heather had been lured to the location, that she trusted the person she was meeting, and that shortly after arriving, she was abducted. But there was one major problem. Without a body, prosecutors faced an enormous obstacle. And this is where the case takes a rare and controversial turn. In 2015, Sydney Moura was convicted of kidnapping Heather Elvis and sentenced to life in prison. Prosecutors argued that Heather was abducted and killed, even though her remains were never recovered. Later, Tammy Moura was also convicted and sentenced to 30 years in prison for her role in the kidnapping. Both have maintained their innocence. Neither has ever revealed what happened to Heather. Neither has led investigators to her body. Searches were conducted across multiple locations. Tips were followed. Leads were exhausted. Years passed. Heather Elvis has never been found. Authorities believe she is deceased. But without physical evidence, her final moments remain unknown. Was she killed that night? Was her body moved elsewhere? Was it hidden in a place that will never be discovered? Or does someone still know something they've never said? Because as long as Heather hasn't been found, this case is not truly over. Heather's family continues to search for answers. They continue to speak her name publicly. They continue to hope for the one thing they've never been given: closure. For them, justice feels incomplete. Because closure doesn't come from a conviction. It comes from bringing Heather home. Heather Elvis was not just a case file. She was not just evidence. She was a daughter, a friend, a young woman whose life mattered. And until the truth is fully revealed, her disappearance remains hidden, but not forgotten. If you want to help keep these stories alive, subscribe to The Hidden Case. Because some truths don't want to stay buried. Some stories fade with time. Others refuse to be forgotten. At The Hidden Case, we explore the disappearances, the unanswered questions, and the truths that remain hidden in the shadows. If you want to help keep these stories alive, subscribe to The Hidden Case.